You don't know, I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach teens and adults. So we're going to go ahead and get this process going. I want to welcome you to the stream. If you don't know, I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach teens and adults. Uh, Driving is a very important part of getting around the country. And if you live in a country where they have cars, they have highways, they have streets, you have to be able to learn how to drive. And that's extremely important. Today, you're going to learn about why you need to pick a really good driving school. What are some of the things you need to know in training? And then how do you apply these training principles on the road? Good schools have content that is tied back to the state. Um, and they have content and teaching methods to help you become a safe driver. Most schools have a state requirement. My location, we have 24 hours of class, 6 hours of behind the wheel instruction, and 4 hours of observing a driver. Okay. And if you're in the back, you're observing them, you're writing down things that they do. They made a great right turn. They did not stop behind the stop line. They looked over their shoulder, checking their blind spot. Those things are super important to help you stay balanced, to give you some insight into driving, and to really help you as a first time driver, whether you're a teen or adult, really learn the rules of the road. And it's a process. We can't just throw a teen in there and go stay drive. We can't just throw an adult in there, doesn't matter your age, and go stay drive. It's a process. You're watching your parents from when you're a young age, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the parents are the first people we as children, teens, young adults watch. How does my dad drive? How does my mom drive? How do my parents drive? And then you watch your uncle, you watch your auntie, and then you develop your own style of driving. You want to learn all the rules of the road. You don't want to cause an accident. You definitely don't want to get a ticket. So, with these things in mind, there's responsibility. Earning a permit, license, and to renew that license 4 years later with no accidents, no tickets, is something all of you should strive for to be a safe driver. And through this process of you watching my live stream, looking through my content, learning things, you're going to pick these things up. And as you go along, you will get value. So schools are registered through the state they're in. They go to professional development either in the state or in another state, and they learn how to educate drivers. And they have to have proper insurance on the vehicles because you're driving people who do not know how to drive. And there is a brake on the passenger side. Yes, I have a brake. A lot of people say, do you have a steering wheel? No, I'm not that old. But there's a brake on the passenger side. Just in case you lose control of the vehicle, your instructor can squeeze the brake, turn the wheel to avoid an accident. And you have to communicate with your instructor. Schools should have ongoing educational development, updating their curriculum every couple years. And it's important. Many schools have some of the basic requirements. This is the Traffic Safety Education Teachers Resource Guide. And this is just one step. Okay. Driving schools can write their own curriculum and send it to the state. Driving schools can also get the curriculum from the state if someone at the state level has put it together. I like to see a blending of both because things change over time. Traffic situations change over time. So it's an ongoing process. I don't like to see a company that is stuck with something that is 5 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. I try to do a mix, and if you looked at my content, Kahoot, Quizlet, other social medias. But you have to go over that core content. And this is like your mini driver's education class today, where you're going to learn some of these basic things. You're going to learn what it feels like. So, all of you are my virtual students. We're going to go through the process. You're in class with me. I'm going to go over today's lesson, and I'm going to tell you about the rules of the road. Okay, one of the first modules is the HTS, the Highway Transportation System. We all share it. Cars, SUVs, semi-trucks, pedestrians, bicyclists. We all have our responsibility to make sure no one is injured. You want an instructor who can explain these situations. I don't want you sitting there just like a robot. I want you interactive. I will put you in groups. I want you guys to do some research. Good instructors give a combination of in-class stuff, online activities, small group activities, hands-on activities. And then they draw on the board. They use different PowerPoints to help you learn how to drive. So the HTS is our highway transportation system. This is our responsibility, okay? We all have a personal responsibility to have the expectation of safety. We all have to make sure our car is in good working order. Our truck is good. Our tires are adequate. Our headlights work. Our tail lights work. Our blinkers work. And when your car is safe, you feel safe on the road. And you're able to see things before they happen. That's called looking ahead. You're able to look ahead 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars. You're able to examine a traffic situation where cars are grouped together. That's called a wolf pack. And you're either going to be ahead of the wolf pack or behind the wolf pack. And I like my drivers to either be ahead. We don't want to be in a group of 10, 12, or 14 cars. They're following too close. And if someone hits the brake, a deer comes out, a semi-tire explodes, everyone is hitting their brakes. You've all seen those type of accidents on whiteout conditions, in the snow, in the fog. People are driving too close together. And as a result of them driving too close together, an accident happens. So experience is a good teacher. But just because I'm experienced, I still want to strive to get better. I still want to grow. I still want to talk to other instructors, visit other driving schools, learn best practice, go to the state legislature, go into another country and learn more. That's what makes really good driving instructors. You can't just settle on your own state requirements. I want to continue to grow. And when your instructor grows and becomes better, you become better. Okay, so the first thing you learn is about the HTS. In neighborhoods, people drive reckless. They are not as safe as they should be. Neighborhood driving is the most dangerous. Why? People let their guard down. You, as the driver, you have to be taught. You have to have an instructor who's willing to talk to you, to not talk at you, but talk with you. And it's about a positive conversation. And this is why I love teaching class and I love being in the car. I always have, because I have a chance and an opportunity to impact other drivers, to help them grow for the next generation, and to be humble enough to learn. One story I can tell you, I had a student, his grandmother, she drove a semi truck. His uncles drove semi trucks. So at the end of the lesson, he drove to the house. The lesson was over. I talked to his grandmother. She said, yes, I drove semi trucks for 15 years. Wow. My son did too. So I'm thinking, wow. And what an experience to have your grandmother drive a semi truck. And it's a shortage of semi truck drivers today. And that's the incredible thing that I need all of you to understand. There's shortage in opportunities in the transportation industry if you get your certification, if you get your endorsement, and that's something you can always have. So think of those opportunities: delivery truck, Amazon, Walmart, just naming a few, where drivers, you can get a cargo van, a box truck, delivering stuff, making a really good salary. But you have to have a good license, and it starts from level one with a good instructor, him or her taking you into small downtown areas, small neighborhoods, learning to back into driveways, reverse in. You look over your shoulder, you turn that steering wheel, you back in that driveway, in, square, then you look left, look right, you put on your blinker, and then you pull out. If your instructor is not having you do those small steering movements, then you're not really learning them. And it takes work, and it takes a lot of planning to do the work. The next area that your instructor should be looking at, and it varies from school to school, the preliminaries, basic maneuvers. How do you get into a car or van or truck, right? How do you adjust your seat properly? On that first lesson, I get out, I welcome you in, I say hi to the parents. They go Facebook Live. Hey, they're all happy, tear in their eye. But after that, I get a chance to get you in the car. I want you to adjust your seat properly, up or down. If you're shorter, you got to bring it up. If you're taller, you got to bring the seat down. Then after you do that, let's move the seat forward. So I want to see your foot pivot between the gas and brake. I'm using my hand, but I want to see your foot pivot between the gas and brake. Sometimes students' right foot gets caught in the gas pedal, and that is really scary. I've had that happen a few times. So you need to wear, here's a pro tip, you need to wear thin-soled shoes so you can feel the gas and brake pedal. We, here in the United States, 90% of cars are automatics. So we do, at times, practice with the manual, but mainly it's an automatic. You put your left foot to the dead pedal, okay? That's that indented space to the left. You rest your left foot. You pivot your right foot between the gas and brake. Blinkers. A lot of beginners forget up. You click it up. It's on the left usually. Up is right. Down is left. You're going to be nervous. You want an instructor who's going to be passionate, who's going to be patient with you, who's going to give you that positive energy and vibes. In that first lesson, students are nervous, they're shaky, your hands are sweating. I've been there, and I understand that. So it's my job to show you love and to show you support and to understand we have to make 10 right turns, 10 left turns. We have to be able to reverse into a driveway. We have to be able to make right turns, left turns in a neighborhood, working in a parking lot, usually a school or a church, where we're going down the aisle and we're making stall parking maneuvers. Parking is a fundamental thing that a lot of students, teens and adults, lack. And if you talk to your parents, oh, I'm not real good at parallel parking. You have to work at it. And this is why in many states, the parallel park is still on your test, okay? So I need you to definitely understand that. And it's still on your test. And I need you guys to understand the goal of getting good parking, practicing it. It takes work. A lot of people are not willing to work for good parking. And then they fail the road tests because they don't know how to back into a cone area. They fail the parking test because they don't pull up far enough to the stop line where the front end is over the big, thick white line, or they can't parallel park. And you can't wait a week before, 2 days before to say, hey, I'm gonna work on my parking, right? I'm gonna work on my parking. I'm gonna get better. You can't do that. You've got to start from day one. So we're in the neighborhoods. We're parallel parking. Hey, pull up right here. Turn the wheel all the way to the right. The rear of the car goes in to the right. Once you're halfway past, turn the wheel back all the way to the left. Within 5 turns of the steering wheel, you should be able to parallel park. But I can't. Well, I have to teach you. I have to show you. And if you don't understand, I will demonstrate. I will show you how to have your hands. There are many different ways to turn a steering wheel. There's 10 and 2, 9 and 3. AAA recommends 7 and 5. We know there's an airbag in the middle. And it depends on how your instructor taught you, how your parents drive, what you've seen on TV. It's really a personal thing. There's no one best way to turn a steering wheel, hand to hand. Everyone is different. And right now, you have to do your research and find what is best for you. Okay? So that's extremely important. Next, driver operational task. Get that vehicle set. Walk around the outside. Is there anything on the ground? Is there anything leaking? Okay? Get into your car. Put on your seatbelt. Adjust your seat. Then when you're sitting, frame the rear window in your center mirror. I should see your eyes looking to the center. I should see you looking to the left. I should see you looking to the right. Get those mirrors adjusted. You have to know who's around you. If you have an enhanced mirror setting, that's fine. But this is my blind spot. This is my blind spot. You have to look over your shoulder. But as a beginning driver, you're going to forget to look over your shoulder. And you could cut off a car. So that's where your instructor is building that positive relationship with you to help you really learn how to turn that steering wheel and how to analyze driving situations. Okay. The next one is traffic control devices. We're talking about traffic lights. We're talking about signs. We have to be able to understand pavement markings, traffic lights, turning arrows, because they guide us. What is to protect the left-hand turn? What if you're in the middle of an intersection and your light turns yellow? Do you stop? Do you go through? What if you can stop safely before the intersection? You should. What if you are one car length away and the light turns yellow? Do you slam brakes? No, it's not recommended. You will definitely have an accident. But what if you learn to run yellow lights? That's a very bad habit. And that could cause you to get into trouble. And we don't want you to get into trouble. We want you to be your best driver. And it takes time to be your best driver. And with good practice, good fundamentals, an instructor who is always learning, an instructor who's taking you in a good, challenging area. Anyone can drive straight for a long time. And if your instructor is taking you on straight driving roads, you're not learning. So you want to limit the amount of straight driving you do. And I'm telling you this because when you're in training, if your instructor says just drive, you're not learning. You should be making a certain number of right turns, left turns, lane changing, okay? Pulling in driveways, reversing out, looking over your shoulder, 3-point turnarounds, 2-point turnarounds, parallel parking, angle parking, stall parking. Downtown areas are fantastic for learning those type of fundamentals because you'll feel confident. No, mom and dad, I can back in. Or I got this, auntie, I can back in. So learning to stay centered, you have to look ahead all the way down the road. A lot of beginners hug the right side. And if your instructor doesn't help you learn the right way, here's what happens. Beginning drivers put themselves, and we're talking about the steering wheels on the left side in America, they put themselves in the middle of the lane. So the car's all the way over to the right side of the road. You're hitting potholes, you're hitting debris, you're hitting metal. And in the wintertime, you could slide off the road. So you want to learn to keep your car centered. The driver should be a little bit toward the left lane, but not over. Okay, if this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. So your driver, your teacher should help you, guide you, suggest to you, educate you, and not belittle you, right? It's really important that I'm very close to getting that. I'm hitting live streams every day. And I want to continue to educate you. And it's a process by educating. And I'm taking you through this virtual class right now. If you were in class with me, this is what we're talking about. I would have a video, I would have a Kahoot, I would have a Quizlet, because test prep, you have to take a knowledge test, okay? 80 questions, you can't miss over 26 questions. So there's a knowledge test. So every day we do a Kahoot, we do a Quizlet, because that's where we are. If you only have pencil and paper, you make copies, you do a practice test. Where I am in my career, I have my own personal Kahoots, Quizlets that'll help you. A lot of beginning drivers stare at the speedometer too much, and that will cause you to drift off the road to the right. That will cause you to drift or totally run a light, right? Totally run a light. And I'm taking you all through the virtual class right now. I love the questions, keep them coming. So avoid staring at the speedometer. Every 15 or 20 seconds, look down and check it. But if you're constantly looking down, you're going to rear end someone. You're going to run a light. And then your instructor is going to be like, oh my God, why do they keep staring at the speedometer? So you have to communicate to your students, and your students have to be able to trust you. You got to build that trust. And if your instructor is intimidating you, cracking jokes, not sensitive, you're not going to want to drive, because everyone is at a different point in their life, anywhere from 15 to 75 years old. I've taught many types and age ranges of people, and everyone is a little bit different. Everyone has a different story and a different journey. The goal is to feel independent and drive. And everyone is different. Okay, let's keep the questions coming. So the next is intersections. Intersections are the most dangerous because you have cross traffic coming from the left, coming from the right. I try to educate my students into being, okay, I need you to make a left turn at the intersection coming up. Turn on your blinker. When you see the broken white line, merge in. Typically, beginning drivers go in too late. They go over the stop line, under the light, you can't see it, or they get in too early. So I try to tell them, split the distance, look ahead, and all of this is very overwhelming, right? And the left turns, I'm going to help you with that right now. You're in the virtual class right now, right? Ask those questions. So you have to go through repetition, usually about the 5th to the 7th left turn, you still understand. But that first 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they're stressful. And if you're driving during rush hour, it's very overwhelming. You're sweating, I'm sweating, we're nervous. But I try to keep the environment in the car happy, chilled, and then I walk you through the process. Okay, I want you to come up to the middle, stop behind the line, look at the light. We have a blinking yellow. This is to protect the left turn, it's blinking. If it's clear, I want you to make your turn. You look, you check, it's not clear yet. Okay, you have a green arrow. I need you to accelerate. They push the gas really slow, and then the car kind of hesitates because they're not accelerating through. And then I see a car coming. So I'm telling them, you need to step on the gas so we can complete our turn. Turn into the nearest lane. If we're making a left turn, it's by the double yellow. Beginning drivers tend to overturn or underturn. If they underturn, they're going to hit the car in the left lane head on. Very scary. If they overturn, they're going to go to the right lane, out of their lane, and hit a car. So I try to walk them through the process. I draw pictures, I illustrate, and through consistency, good teaching, high energy, they usually pick it up. Unprotected left turn turns, no light, driver has to make the decision. That's very challenging. And it takes time to learn that. So left hand turns, your instructor should be taking you through this, not on the 5th drive, not on the 4th drive, right around that 2nd or 3rd. Every instructor is a little bit different, right? But you've paid your money, right? You paid your, so if you're 18, I'm getting some questions. If you're 18, you're going to go to the DMV in your state. You're going to get a TIP. That's a temporary instruction permit. $15, $18, $21, it depends. It varies from state to state. You're going to get that. You have to take a knowledge test, 24 questions. You have to pass your knowledge test. So looking at this, looking at my content, it will help you process those are driving questions. Okay, payment marking questions. And if you want me to do some test prep like that, I will. You just have to let me know. So you got to take this test. You pass the test, you take an eye test, you get your temporary instruction permit. Green or yellow or red, whatever the state has. And then you have to drive with someone over 21. You got to be driving for about 30 days. And if you feel good, parking, merging on expressway, making right turns, making left turns, general vehicle control. Um, so on the knowledge test, I think it's more than 10, right? But that's why you might be able to download a practice test. They have different versions, and I don't want to say too much, but they have different versions of the test. So if you download that practice test and you can review some of the questions. If you want me to do a review, then I'll do that, right? I will do that review for you to give you some general ideas. You just have to let me know. I'm a teacher, I'm a driving instructor. I would love to do some test prep because that's very rewarding, right? Um, and you have to be able to communicate and let people know. The hardest thing for driving, in your opinion, I think is pulling out onto the main street in traffic because usually beginning drivers, they do one of two things. They slam the gas or they don't push the gas. Pulling out onto traffic, left-hand turns, parallel parking, merging on the freeway, heavy downtown traffic, driving at night. Those things have different driving elements and they can challenge you a little bit. So you as the driver, you want to be challenged, right? You want to be challenged, but also you want to do your best work. Okay? You got to be able to do your best work. So you want an instructor to take you in various situations. Anyone can drive midday, no cars, pull out in traffic, but that's not real driving. On your road test, you're going to drive, those instructors will take you out onto the road, onto a route, downtown area, residential, commercial, merging on expressway, parallel parking, stall parking, reverse parking, parking downhill, uphill. You have to know these things. And if you don't practice them, you've wasted your money, you're going to fail. If you can't get on the road, you got to practice in your neighborhood, right? If this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. If you can't get on the road, you got to practice in your neighborhood. Remember when I said from the beginning, that first lesson, we're making right-hand turns through the neighborhood, 10 right-hand turns, 10 left-hand turns. We're making figure eights in the parking lot, going around those light poles. I'm giving you some first-hand information to help you. You got to be able to turn that steering wheel smoothly, hand over hand in, hand over hand out. If we're making 90-degree turns at a corner, you're turning smoothly. You're not turning wide in the wrong lane. If you overturn, you're going to go over the curb. Scare yourself, scare your instructor. Okay, you have to find that balance. And that's the only way with practice. Okay, let me continue. Following distance, managing space. A lot of beginning drivers will tailgate. I'm in a hurry, I gotta go. Why are they driving so slow? So I'm thinking to myself, my student doesn't see there are 5 cars ahead of us, the light just changed, and they're saying, why is everyone not moving? So what I've noticed, people are very impatient. A lot of students just want to get in quickly, get the information, and get out, but they haven't understood the driving fundamentals. Right around the third drive, you're going to feel comfortable. The first drive, you're stressed, you're nervous, you're sweating, your hands are sweating, your bladder's about to explode, your face is twitching. You get nervous. And a good instructor will get you patient, crack a joke, and then we start learning how to drive. We learn how to pull out of a driveway. We learn how to make right turns. You have to look where you're going. A lot of beginning drivers look down at the speedometer. They look down at the lines. Aim high and look ahead. We're going through our virtual class right now. Stay with me. So space management. I say it having good speed, good space, and a smile. I'm always smiling because I'm very passionate about driving. And I love the opportunity to educate you, to answer your questions, and to encourage you to go out, get your permit, get your license, get into a good driver's education program. Look at Google reviews. Go visit the driver's education school. Talk to the instructors. If you were coming into my business, I would have you come in, I would have you look. You will get your permit. It will happen. Okay. It takes work. You got to practice in the parking lot doing those figure eights around the light poles. You got to practice pulling into those stall parking spots. Once you feel comfortable and you can go down the aisle, up the aisle, making right turns, left turns, and using your blinker, then you gradually start in the neighborhood. We can't just throw you on the road. If we throw you on the road, you're going to panic. Trucks are going to cut us off. They're going to tailgate us. This is the reality where we are today. Yes, we have the driver's ed sign on the car, on top, on the side, but people are just impatient. And I wish they would remember when they learn how to drive. And we have a very aggressive world today, but if you have a good instructor who's patient, right, you will reach your goal. Okay? You will get better. You have to set a goal. Usually in the summer, driver's ed is so busy, right? And it's so busy. So the summer's good. Plan out about 30 days. Everyone is busy. You got a planner. You're in school, you're working. Plan out a time for you. Get your license because of you, not your boyfriend, not your girlfriend, not your grandmother, auntie. It's for you because this will change your life. Okay, let me keep going here. So being followed. If you speed up, you're going to lose the most important space that's behind you. You can't control the space behind you. Notice I'm giving you some test prep too. And if you write down some of these things I'm talking about, these are some of the general questions. But remember, they're different versions of the test they will give you. But these questions will help you understand. Okay. So next, passing other vehicles. You want to pass a vehicle when it's safe, when it's legal. Okay. If you have a double yellow line, you can't pass. If you have a broken yellow line, you can pass if safe and legal. You can't pass on a curve. You can't pass through an intersection. You have to look at the pavement markings. You have to look at the signs. And if those signs say passing is allowed, accelerate, don't go over the speed limit. Let's pretend this picture is the car. If this car is in your rearview mirror, you're safe. A lot of beginning drivers will lift their foot. We almost get rear-ended by the car. So you want to teach those fundamentals. Your instructor should be going through with instructional videos, PowerPoints, handouts, packets to educate you. Just like you're taking the time to go through your driver's ed class right now. And I'm going through some of those fundamentals. I don't have the PowerPoints or Kahoots or Quizlets, but I will. I'm telling you some of the things. And there's a study guide that's created. And you should have a full notebook of drawings, illustrations, so you understand. And then you set up your time to drive. Let's continue. So being passed, you want to maintain speed. You don't want to go too fast. You don't want to go too slow, right? You want to maintain speed and be safe and consistent on the road. You want to be predictable. I tell my students, I want to see you being predictable. If the speed limit is 55, I expect you around 55. If you're at 45, we're slowing the flow of traffic. You can become a hazard. If we're over 55, you're going to be tailgating, you're going to be speeding, you could be running lights, and we're out of control a little bit. So I like to have a balance where you can drive at the speed limit, you're looking around, checking, your hands are good. I want to see you become comfortable. And that takes time. If you have an instructor who's screaming at you, hit the brake, grabbing the wheel, you feel defeated. You don't want to drive. And I understand that. And I pride myself on not being that instructor because you're going to remember your instructor the rest of your life. They were so nice. I now drive for a professional driving company. I now drive a large semi truck. I now have my own business and they encourage me. And it's about relationships. So let me continue. Sharing the road. Semi trucks. If you look at a lot of my content, and you should be, semi trucks are huge. Blind spots. left side, right side, front and back. They're called the no zones. Okay, like this picture. Left side, right side, front, up there, and back. Stay away from semi trucks because they're very long. They have large blind spots. And there are more new drivers out today because this is a great industry. Maybe one day I'll learn how to drive a semi truck. You would have to take a CDL test, air brakes, some other things that you have to learn. And that's a great opportunity, but that's way different than a car. So a lot of semi truck drivers say cars cut them off. They hang around their blind spots. Get out of those no zones. Don't cut off a semi truck. Takes up to a football field or more to have them slow down. Semi trucks primarily drive in the right lane. You're merging out. You got to get on that gas and go. Push the gas and accelerate. Occasionally, I have students going too slow. You mentioned one of the most difficult things, merging out on the expressway when I see a semi truck. And we have two mirrors, one for the driver, one for the instructor. And I'm calm. My heart's beating. My heart's beating now because we're in a car getting ready to merge on the expressway and there's a semi truck. Oh my God. So I just tell my student, please step on the gas and hold your foot down. Most students do that. Occasionally, some don't merge out. Now we're in an emergency maneuver situation. The truck driver may have changed lanes. Sometimes they don't. I do not want to abandon the merge, but occasionally it does happen, and we have to go over to the side of the road. Now we've lost our merging opportunity. You don't know what's going on. I know. I can't get mad at you. It's my job to teach you. And that's what good instructors do. They put everything on them. And that's what I do because I'm responsible for teaching you. That's their personal responsibility. And once you feel comfortable, you're going to have the personal responsibility because you're going to be the driver in the car. And when your friend's in there, hey guys, you got to stop talking. There are a lot of trucks around. Hey, I can't look at that dog picture right now. I can't look at that cat picture. I'm trying to drive. That's that personal responsibility that I need all of you to take. Your mom won't be in the car. Your dad won't be in the car. It's going to be you. And remember what you've learned. That person responds. If this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. Give it a like. Okay, we're talking about sharing the roadway with trucks. And vehicles are a lot bigger today. And you got to keep space. The middle lane on an expressway is usually the smooth lane. So I'll have you merge out, check, get your speed up, 65, 68. We're good. Relax a few minutes. Okay, I'd like you to make a lane change to the left. Mirror, turn signal, blind spot. You accelerate, boom, we're in the middle lane. We're feeling good. I'm feeling good. You're feeling good. We're chilling. And that's what you want your instructor to do. You want them to give you that support. And as you guys are watching this, visualize, hey, we're in a car. Hey, we're driving to Texas. Hey, we're going to Chicago. Hey, we're going to Canada. You have to be able to visualize what you're doing. Okay, I want you to get off at exit 24. So now you got to look at signs. The sign is to the right. I'm at exit 30. Okay, you got to get to exit 24. So now you got to look at guide signs and keep your speed up. And oh, by the way, a semi truck is merging out. Some students lift their foot. Some students panic and go to the left of the lane. And then I have to gently turn the wheel. There's a lot of moving parts. A lot. And good instructors give you the support. They give you that love and encouragement, and we keep it moving. Let's talk about mental health. And this is really important. Post-COVID, a lot of people had just given up on driving, couldn't get into a driving school. Busy, full. The online driver's ed element is really good. The state limits how many students that you can have in. Every instructor is different. If you are a good business owner, you would have an online driver's education program and an in-person to cater to the needs because people have sports, they have jobs, they're going out of town. You can watch this anywhere in the world right now. You could be traveling, you could be on a plane. Hey, I want to see this guy, he's talking right now. So look at those opportunities. And because of COVID, it's really forced us to step up our social media, our webcams, looking at content. So that's an opportunity. So you just don't have to go in person. You can take the class online, 24 hours of class, 6 hours of driving, 4 hours of observation. And then they go through the whole process like I'm going through now, right? Taking you through the virtual class. This is like the intro. You're like, okay, I understand. You got to have a notebook. You got to have some highlighters. Good students, and I have some notebooks, good students take really good notes. They highlight. We have signed worksheets. We have word searches. We integrate and embed PowerPoints. Okay, Prezzies, Kahoot, Quizlet. Good instructors elevate. You can't teach something that is 12 years old, 14 years old. VHS tapes are done. You've got to have quick information, thorough information, and then you stop talking and you let the students work and you let them read and you let them go through the worksheets and read the book. And then, okay, guys, let's go over chapter 1. Okay, what is HTS? I know. That's the Highway Transportation System. We all have to share in the responsibility. Okay, what should you do when you first get into the car? John, I know. You got to look around the car, you get in, put in your seatbelt. Thank you, John. But what else should you do? I look around, I put on my seatbelt, I adjust my, I get in the car first, I adjust my seat. I put on my seatbelt first, yes. Then I adjust my seat. Then I adjust my mirrors. And you give your students that encouragement. It's such an exciting time. Okay, let's continue. Chemical abuse. Certain states allow the use of marijuana. So you now have people who are under the influence and driving, or who unfortunately were involved in an accident on pain medication and they should not be driving. So we as a society, is a person tired? Are they under the influence? Are they on medication? So don't be so quick to judge what a driver's doing. Analyze, back off. Maybe they're trying to get to Texas, but they're in New York. Maybe they're in Ohio, but they should be in North Carolina because out of town license plates. So you want to teach your students, okay, they're from out of town. Back off. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're lost. Look at how they're driving. Be a student of driving. Okay. Next, rural highways, adverse conditions, rain. When it first rains, the first couple of minutes, that's the most dangerous time because the oil, the gas, diesel fluid is mixing together and it's really a slick pace. You will spin out of control. After about 10 minutes, all that stuff washes away. Then it's safe, but anytime it rains, you still could hydroplane. Who knows what hydroplane is? Look it up in the book. I know. When there's a lot of water on the road and the tire is riding on a sheet, follow me, on a sheet of water that causes you to lose control. These are terms you need to know. Remember, I'm preparing you for your knowledge test. If you're over 18, I'm preparing you for that test you have to take before you get your TIP. This is jam-packed with information. You need to be looking at this. This is your driver's education intro class, right? Because I'm giving you a perspective of what it's like. And you got to register your students. You got to get all the legal documents. So good instructors have the study guides ready. Have information listed on the board. Work on the study guide. Come up one at a time. Let me see your birth certificate. Make sure all your paperwork is done. You've made the payment at the office. I'm going to write your name on a roster in alphabetical. That's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. But once you get that set up, you send it to the main office. Okay, guys, we're going to schedule driving. Who can drive after class? Class is from 2:30 to 4:30. Who can drive 4:30 to 6:30? I can. Okay, come up, sign up. We need to partner. Who can drive 5:30 to 7:30? I have practice. We'll drive back to the school and pick you up. Okay, we drive in groups of 2 or 3. Remember, one is driving, one is in the back observing. Oh, okay. What if I'm on medication? Tell me the type of medication so I know. Is it anxiety? Okay, it's just something that you lose focus on because we had to have this conversation. And I had that training a couple years ago. So good instructors will ask, and you communicate with your students privately, right? So let's continue. So we talked about adverse conditions, rain, snow, fog. Fog is an atmospheric condition. You do not want to drive with your high beam headlights on. Why? This is me asking you a question. Look it up. Oh, if we have our high beams on, we won't be able to see as much. But in your brain, you're thinking, if I have my high beams low on, I can see more, but you can't because the high beam lights reflect the fog and water particles back into your eyes. So you're thinking, wow, that's an adverse condition. Fog, ice rain, heavy snow, okay? Anytime there is an adverse condition, you need to reduce your speed, okay? So I need you to understand it. So through our discussion, you're learning about driving situations, you're prepping for your test, you're taking notes. You know, we'll do a Kahoot, we'll do a Quizlet, where I develop custom questions to help you to pass your test. Because I had a young lady last night. This is my third time taking the class. I'm like, what? This is my third time. I'm saying, she passed her test. I was like, yes, I was so happy. She passed her test. So now she can go on with the next part of her life. So she had told me, hey, this is my second time taking it. And I'm thinking, should I know more? But I was supportive. I listened. I helped her. And the reward is she passed her test. And that's a special feeling. And that's what you want to aim toward. Your instructor or instructors, there's an in-car instructor and there's a classroom instructor. I do both because I want to get to know you. I want you to learn, right? And if there's a problem, the in-car instructor, okay, I have a problem with the other instructor, sir. Can you please drive me? I put the whole class on my back. I got it. I will drive you. I will make time in my schedule. Thank you. I appreciate you. And you show love because we have to keep the customers happy. And it's all about personalities. And I want all of you to know this. Let's keep going. Emergency situations. You have a blowout. You have a front tire, rear tire that has a blowout, immediate loss of air. Don't hit the brakes. Don't hit the gas. Gradually steer where you want to go. I've had those happen about 10 or 12 times in 23 years. Very scary. Young lady hit a pothole, bent the back rim, immediate blowout. She started crying. I said, hey, it's not your fault. We got over as quick as possible, right by a Burger King restaurant, real life. We parked. It was in the wintertime. My hands were freezing, but I had to change that tire. You have to know how to do this. And you have to know and prepare for those emergency situations. Okay? So that's extremely important. Let's continue. Vehicle care. You have to get your car serviced every 3, 5, or 7,000 miles for an oil change. You need to have your front and rear tires rotated. Okay? You need to check the condition of your hoses and belts. Your car will only break down when you're on a long trip, say from here to Texas, here to New York, here to Las Vegas, here to California. It won't break down when you're driving a half an hour, 20 minutes. So if you're going on that long trip, usually students take that first trip to Cedar Point, to an amusement park, which is a rite of passage. It's about 2.5 hours away. Your mom and dad usually will check the vehicle. Oh, hey, we need you to get you a couple tires. Here's some money. Here's the debit card. Go get an oil change. Okay? Because most people take their car to an oil change place. It's more environmentally friendly, $25 to $50. You don't have to dispose of the oil. You get your car properly serviced. They top off your windshield washer solvent. They check your fluids. They check your lines. They check your windshield wipers. And then as a parent, your heart is beating a little less. But you've got to know how to get to Cedar Point. You have your GPS, right? And that's exciting too. Social responsibility. Social responsibility is very important. We all have a social responsibility. Me putting myself out here, social responsibility. I want you to become a good driver. I'm giving you some perspectives on your first day in driver's education class. You had that first day with me. You're excited. You're nervous. When I'm in class, I greet all my students. I give them a fist bump. Hey, sit down. I get them in groups of 4. I have the study guide ready. Okay, guys, you have the study guide. It's going to take about 25 minutes. I'm going to call you up one at a time. Bring your birth certificate. Bring all the information. I write it down. I create my roster. Okay, guys, let's go over chapter 1. We just went over chapter 1. And then if there's time, in the next day or two, I try to set up all my drives. I drive after class, before class, and on the weekends. Typically, I drive anywhere from 15 to about 24 students and some adults. I do private lessons also. You went through day 1. You're excited. You're nervous. You're like, I like this guy. And I want you to feel good. I want you to look at this on the replay, post some questions. I want to say thank you. If this brought you value, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. You went through day 1 of your virtual driver's education class. I just gave you a high five. I'm proud of you. I want to say thank you. Have a great day. Bye.